Dear students of class 9th, in this video we will revise lesson of geography. Name of the chapter is India, Size and Location. In previous two videos, I discussed in detail about the chapter. Again, in this video, we will revise some of the important facts related to the chapter. First, let us see this diagram. This diagram is showing you some of the important parallels of latitudes and the meridians of longitude. You can see here some imaginary vertical lines are there which are joining the poles. So these imaginary vertical lines which are joining North Pole and the South Pole are known as meridians of longitudes, or simply you can call them longitudes. Then there are some horizontal lines also. So these imaginary horizontal lines are known as latitudes, or if you want you can call them parallels of latitudes. Now let us discuss about some of the important parallels of latitude. Here I have mentioned degrees also. First one, that is 0 degree latitude, or you can say the equator. So 0 degree latitude or the equator has divided the earth into two equal halves. The northern half is known as northern hemisphere and the southern half is known as southern hemisphere. So with regard to India, our country lies in the northern hemisphere. Then another important latitude, that is 23.5 degree northern latitude. It is known as Tropic of Cancer. 23.5 degree southern latitude is known as Tropic of Capricorn. 66.5 degree northern latitude is known as Arctic Circle. 66.5 degree southern latitude is known as Antarctic Circle. 90 degree north is known as North Pole and 90 degree south is known as South Pole. So these are the important parallels of latitudes. So with regard to the area in between 23.5 degree north to 23.5 degree south is known as torrid zone, or if you want you can call it tropical zone. In this zone, rays of the sun remain vertical throughout the year, and in between 23.5 degree north to 66.5 degree north, 23.5 degree south to 66.5 degree south, these two zones are receiving moderate temperature, and these two zones are known as temperate zones, or you can call them the northern temperate zone and the southern temperate zone. In between 23.5 degree north to 66.5 degree north, 23.5 degree south to 66.5 degree south. So with regard to our country, you know that what I told you in the previous video, Tropic of Cancer passes almost middle of our country. So the southern part is lying in the torrid zone, and with regard to the northern part, it lies in the temperate zone. But as that part is very near to the Tropic of Cancer, so we are calling northern part of India as subtropical part of India. After that, we will discuss about eastern and the western hemisphere. So this 0 degree longitude, which is also known as prime meridian, or if you want you can call it Greenwich meridian, it is also dividing the earth into two equal parts. The eastern side is known as eastern hemisphere, and with regard to the western part, that is known as western hemisphere. And with regard to our country is lying in the eastern hemisphere. Now let us discuss about the latitudinal and the longitudinal extent of our country. So if you will see the map, what you will notice with regard to the latitudinal extent of our country, The latitudinal extent is in between 8 degree 4 minute north to 37 degree 6 minute north. And with regard to the longitudinal extent of our country, it is lying in between 68 degree 7 minute east to 97 degree 25 minute east. And with regard to the north south and east to west extent of our country in term of kilometer, you can see here, with regard to the north south extent in kilometer, that is about 3214 kilometer. This is the north south extent of our country, and with regard to the east west extent of our country, it is only about 2933 kilometer. So from this topic one question is important. You may get the question, though the north, south and east-west extent of our country is almost same. That is 13 degree. The north, south and also the east-west extent are 13 degree, but we are getting difference in north, south and east-west extent. So if you are getting the question to write about the region due to which we are getting difference in the north south and the east west extent of our country, simply what you can write here is that just I have shown you the parallels of latitude and the meridians of longitude. What you will say with regard to the distance in between two meridians of longitude, that is maximum on the equator, but as we are moving toward the pole, distance reduces. But with regard to the latitudes, they are equidistant, means distance in between two parallels of latitude remains same. And this is only the region due to which north-south extent of our country is much larger than the east-west extent of our country. And with regard to the southernmost extent of our country, the southernmost extent is at 6 degree 4 minute north, because all of you know that we are having two groups of islands also. So with regard to the southernmost point of the Andaman and Nicobar island, which is known as Indira Point, so it is lying at 6 degree 4 minute northern latitude. So here one question is very common. If you are getting the question, mention the latitudinal extent of mainland of our country, then you will write it is lying in between 8 degree 4 minute north to 37 degree 6 minute north. But if you are getting a question, mention the latitudinal extent of our country, then it is better to write that our country is lying in between 6 degree 4 minute north to 37 degree 6 minute northern latitude. Then this map is showing you the important two union territories which have formed very recently, and all the other states also. All the states, union territory, islands groups have been shown in this map, so you will go through that. Then with regard to this diagram is showing you about the nations which are larger in size than our country. So what I told you in the previous video, that total area of our country is about 3.28 million square kilometer, which is constituting only about 2.4% of the total geographical area of the world. So there are 6 countries which are larger in size than our country: Russia, Canada, USA, then China, Brazil, Australia and our country is having 7th position. And from this topic also you may be getting question, mention the name of the countries which are larger in size than India. So in proper sequence you can write in this way, just I have shown you the diagram. Russia, Canada, USA, China, Brazil and Australia. These are the 6 countries which are larger in size than our country. But in most of the books what I have seen, the sequence is somewhat different. In most of the competitive books what you will see, the sequence is in this way: Russia, Canada, China, then USA. But you have to follow your NCERT textbook. In NCERT textbook the sequence is Russia, Canada, USA, China and Brazil. This is the sequence, and the 6th largest country is Australia. And with regard to the China, you know that it has illegally captured some of the parts of our country in the northeast, and also some of the other areas of the world have been captured by this country. So we have to follow the sequence what is given in your textbook. So these are all about the things, and in next video we will discuss some new things.